Yeah, I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Can we just plan for me to run down there? Because I can just drive faster than a helicopter or whatever. What are you even thinking about? I can be there. Jet right down. Jammers?
Ready when you are, good sir.
We live?
We're live.
TNT. It's TNT Tuesday. Good Tuesday to you. So today we're going to custom discuss a little bit of IREX, which will lead us into our next topic. So Craig's been working. I kind of had this idea of formulating way back when we started working on these corners. So we're finishing that up right now, because this one should come out of the fab room by mid-February, I think, is kind of what I'm hoping for. And then start the whole tedious process of taking it apart and cleaning and painting and linexing and plumbing and wiring and, you know, all of that fun stuff.
Have you introduced her for the people that don't know who this is?
Yeah, so this is one of Pat Gruber's Jeeps. Way back many moons ago, it was his wife's. It's kind of a interesting story, and Pat can probably tell it better than me, but the short version is he bought a Rescue Green Rubicon, brand new, and then went back to the same dealership, and they had its sister. So he got that one for his wife. So this one was never really wheeled hard. It was, you know, typical JK build 37s. I don't even remember what suspension was under it. Still a V6, whatever. More of a normal driver trail rig, and then T-Rex evolved into what everybody knows as T-Rex. Long story short, he had some family out. They went to Moab. Novice driver got in this one and had a oops. So it ended up here. Pat decided that Sally, his wife, needed a newer Jeep, so she got a 2012 or a 2013 Rubicon, you know, loaded one, nice one. So this one laid around for a couple of years while Pat and I decided what we were going to do to it. First venture was it was going to be a race car, meaning Jeep speed. Pat thought that, doesn't think, he likes to go fast. So we custom discussed potential King of the Hammers type build, and all of the guys that have tried King of the Hammers in full body JKs have never fared very well. So we decided that the big rock should be left to a crawler, but yet still wanted to go fast, so Jeep speed kind of fit the bill. So anyway, a couple years transpired. We worked on it when we could. Kind of always sat in the back corner, kind of like it is now. We had removed the entire firewall and the whole floor pan out of it. You know, rubbin's racing, so you got to read the rule book and see where you can fudge things. And one of the rules that stuck out to me was the plane of the bell housing could not exceed the leading edge of the seat. Okay, that kind of sounds like semi-mid-engine to me, so out with the firewall, out with the floor pan. Motor came all the way back. And the class we were chasing was somewhat limited front suspension, unlimited rear suspension, but the caveat was you had to maintain factory issued engine. Any factory issued engine in the chassis. Well, in a JK, that's a V6. They never came with anything else. This one being an '08, that meant a 3.8.
Powerhouse.
So, if any of you have ever pulled a 3.8 out of a Jeep, it will pretty much fit in a shoebox. It's a 60-degree V6, so it's real narrow, it's real short, potentially would lead itself well to a mid-engine. So we had it all the way stuffed. You know, the valve covers were like right here. Hadn't worked out all of the details on exhaust because that was going to be miserable, but there's some pretty cool high-tech heat shielding and whatnot out there. We figured we could make it work. Well, then that project kind of got sidetracked. Pat got busy at work. Didn't know if he could actually put the time into racing it because the closest Jeep speed race to us is about 1,000 miles plus a little bit. That's the closest one, and there's 7 of them a year. Yeah, 7 of them a year, because it's a points,
Series.
Series. I think, Chuck, that was the word I was looking for. So you can't just go race one race. We can. Lots of people do it for fun, but
Not
Pat's
as
a
a competitor.
fairly competitive individual, and he likes to win. So in order to even stand a chance at winning the series, you have to run all the races, and he just couldn't put the time into that project. So it sat for a while. We kind of tarped it, stuffed it in the corner even deeper than it was. And then Pat and I were chatting, and he's like, you know, Rex is kind of getting wore out and tired. I need a new trail Jeep. So we started fabricating more towards the line of building a trail Jeep. Well, then Rex actually died, had major electrical problems, and it was just decided to put Rex down, so to speak. We stole some parts out of Rex. We still got the old damn track Dana 60 here in the front. We picked up the Pro Rock 80 for the rear. We mocked it all up with the 5.7 Hemi out of Rex, which was semi-tired. So we now have a 6.4 Mopar crate engine in there. We coupled that to a 727, old school 727 automatic. The whole theme of this Jeep was to get rid of electronics. Obviously, we have to have basic electronics because that's how Hemis operate, but that is it. We have a complete standalone ignition and fuel management system on this 6.4. The rest of it, every piece of factory wiring has found the circular file. It'll be a street rod harness, tail light to headlight. Very simple, very easy to fix in the field. So then things led and continued on, and as you can see, we no longer have a windshield frame because we built a full custom cage. This will get a piece of Lexan when we finish. The major fabrication in the cage is done. It is a 10-point cage. So we've come through the firewall. I'll open the hood here in a minute. There's front stubs that go out on the front of the frame. So that's 2 points. The A-pillar continues down through the tub and to the frame. There's 4. The B-pillar is kind of interesting. We spread the B-pillar out and took up all of the room. You know, everybody talks, you know, cut the B-pillar off, that's all cool, and now people do it in kits. Well, we did it in like 2009, so, you know, all the new kids on the block think this is the coolest thing and whatever. We've been doing that since almost the JKs came out. What we did different on this one is we actually took all of the face of the B-pillar off so we could continue this tube as far outboard as we could get it to get some more headroom in here. The problem with the current chop the B-pillar thing is they put the B-pillar then back here behind the seat and you whack your head on it. It's not a great design. So we did it different. We brought it out here. It continues all the way down through the floor and to the frame. And by, I won't say dumb luck, because we did kind of know what we're doing. That mount continues right down onto our 3-link suspension mount underneath. That suspension cage, everything is tied together. The C-pillar will not be tied to the frame, but the ends of the X-brace where they continue down onto the floor, that will continue down on the frame. And we currently have the D-pillar is tied to the frame. So we have a full 10-point tied to the frame cage. Hopefully this one stays together. What we found with T-Rex, we had built a pretty elaborate cage in it and just put it on the sheet metal body. The body failed miserably. It had tears in the floor, there was seams coming apart. So on this one, we're continuing everything to the frame. So it's more or less a buggy now, it's not really a Jeep. Which leads us to our corners. For those that have a good eye, you'll notice we're building the corner up and over and encapsulating the entire tub. The soft top rail is gone. We had to take the soft top rail off in order to accomplish this. So following that buggy theme, what you see is what you get. We're gonna run the Strike Force Zebra half doors to shed some weight, but yet gain some storage because they're a hollow door. If you've never seen them, you should go look at them. They're pretty cool. So we'll have half doors on it. So we like things that look like Jeeps, even though they're not really Jeeps anymore. Don't really believe in the hack and whack and comp cutting and all that kind of just bastardizing your Jeep, excuse my French. So we want it to still look like a Jeep. This was a failure point, this area right here on T-Rex. It's just begging to get smashed. So by capping the corner, as you can see, Craig likes pie, so he's got all these little pie pieces that still have to be put together and welded and finished out. We're still missing one that we're trying to figure out what the angle is to get that to fit right. This will all get welded inside and out, and then the outside will get metal finish, so it's all one smooth looking corner. And then my son Jason built these rub rails. Talked with Gerald at length at, I don't remember where we were, All for Fun a couple years ago, and I asked him if he had heartburn with me attempting a set of rub rails for a JK, and he said, knock yourself out because we will never make them. We use his tub rails on our TJ projects because why reinvent the wheel? It's a nice piece, it bolts right on, it's simple, it does its job. But nobody has made one for a JK because of all the compound curves in the JK body. So we hand fit this stainless 1/8 inch walled tubing and made a rub rail similar to the Savvy TJ one. So all of this together will make this corner fairly tough. You probably noticed we ditched the factory tailgate and went to a flop style tailgate on it. There again to shave some weight. Our real goal with this Jeep is to keep it sub 7,000 pounds, and everybody laughs. Well, go weigh your 4-door JK and you'd be surprised on what it weighs. My goal is the mid to upper 5s, which is stretching a lot for a 4-door JK. With a Dana 80, Dana 60, 45s on double beadlocks, V8,
Including a spare.
including a spare.
Yeah.
The spare does fit here in the back. We cut
In
the
case,
whole.
in case you're not familiar with what we're trying to do here and why he's emphasizing weight,
Right.
Yeah, you gotta go that way.
Yeah.
this be a 45-inch tire on a beadlock.
Right. 20 inch.
I would show you me picking it up, but I don't want to lose my spine here on the floor. It's not light.
Yeah.
And this fits in there with the rest of them. Trying to get this weight down, that's where
You have it cut out on the inside too.
Yeah. We.
Just sit down a little bit.
We're not sure where we're at on this, so hopefully it doesn't fall on the floor. I think Craig's got it all together. No, yeah. sorry, it's full of junk, but we cut the whole floor out so the 45 sits down in and is shorter than the top of the cage for, you know, dragging it through rocks and trees. And someday when it goes over, because it will go over, so we sunk that down in. There's, like I said, it is a JK, but by looks only. We got dual batteries in it right now. We're actually contemplating pulling one of them back out. There's no need for dual batteries. So we have room for some other things that we have to put in it because we're running out of room. The dash will be a fabricated sheet metal dash with a waterfall type console, come down between the front seats, continue on into and through the back seats. Gotta have some creature comforts because it will be a 4-seat crawler, so Pat can take friends and family and we can go do whatever. The rear seat mount I made is very simply removable. It bolts into the factory bungs in the floor where the factory seat was. So you pull 4 or 5 bolts and you can lift that whole assembly out, so we have storage for the event that this Jeep will debut at, which leads us to where that other thing I was talking about, last man standing. Pat will be, come hell or high water, this Jeep will be on that trip. So we got till September, which is easily obtained. Like I said, we probably got a solid 2 months, 2.5 months of work left in it between plumbing and wiring and paint and finish and all of that good stuff. So it should be out and about this summer doing some shakedown work, so it's ready to take on the last man standing challenge. We have a list of, we have a list, or we're not ready to.
We're not announcing them because I had 2 more entries this morning wanted to get in, so that means we're over the limit. We are now into Lotteryville.
Yep.
So
we do have a lottery. We will figure that out here in the next, I mean, Chuck and Mason are leaving tomorrow for St. George, so I won't see them for a week. When they get back, we'll sit down, put our heads together and figure out what that looks like, and what the date for said lottery will be. And I would think, well,
Quick.
I kind of run the place, so that will happen no later than April, because people need to know. I would probably think that will happen no later than the 1st of March. So that you can get picked, you know you're going, do your vacation and all of that fun stuff.
if you're on the list, I would be definitely a heads up. You're probably going to go. There's not too many of us, so if you're on the list and you're really wanting to go, plan on it. We're planning on all of you going. So at this time,
we'll
put
make
your
it
time.
work one way or the other.
Yep.
I won't get up in the 15 plus range, but if we had 11 instead of 10, we can make 11 work. So if you're still on the fence and you haven't sent in an application, do that.
Time is running out
now.
Yep.
Get that emailed into Chuck, send it by U.S.
Whatever.
Post, carrier pigeon, however that works for you, get it to us. Smoke signals do not work for us because it's windy here in Wyoming and we'll misinterpret the smoke signal. So get that in ASAP. This Jeep will be there by hell or high water. Mine will get done. I've actually been putzing around in the garage last couple of nights cleaning and getting some things ready.
And he's not talking about the one behind him.
No, that's a sore subject.
Talking about
Just
Bob's
leave
TJ.
that sit there for now. Yeah, my TJ. It's a little farther along than this one, but more or less in the same place this one is. Needs plumbed, wired, shook down, final welded, blah blah blah. So
Another very custom Jeep.
yeah. So we'll get that one going here shortly too. Where are we at time wise? We're all right. So yeah, I think we'll sign off for this week. Like I said, just wanted to give you guys an update on this, what our capabilities are. We can do just about anything. One of my former slogans was, If you can dream it, we can build it. We don't really use that much anymore because it's been used by a whole bunch of other people, but the theory still applies. And this was kind of a dream of Pat's and mine to see how far we could push four-door JK. You know, there's other people that have pushed four-door JKs, but this will have our own spin and style on it. Should be a pretty capable Jeep when it's done. So with that, I'm gonna sign off. We'll see you next week. There's gonna be probably some intermittent live stuff from St. George, so stay tuned for Chuck and Mason. And it won't be Tuesday, but next Monday, be paying attention because we have a little surprise on next Monday. And then I'll be back here on Tuesday and we'll go again. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week.